Welcome, Alf. Welcome back, I must say, to GOLDINVEST. This is the second part of our conversation. Last time we covered the new uranium discovery at Kulik Lake in northern Saskatchewan. This time around, I'm really eager to learn more about the rare earth side of that deposit or of that project. And I must say, at first when I saw the historical results, 50% rare earth, that was beyond too good to be true, actually, because the normal results that you get, that you would expect in rare earth, are maybe 1 to 2% at best, and only very few deposits have higher grade, 8 to 10 maybe, but 50% is unheard of. Anyways, I'm happy to share screen with you and have you take it on from here and lead us through your presentation, and then we have another round of questions.
Okay. Okay, so Searchlight is, as you know, a Saskatchewan-based exploration company with a veteran mining team. We're working in the best jurisdiction for mineral exploration in Canada, according to industry surveys. And we've been looking for gold, uranium, and rare earths. And what we want to talk about today is our rare earths results. So we have 102 million shares outstanding. We're trading at 8 or 9 cents Canadian. We trade both in the Frankfurt market under the symbol 2CC2 and on the TSX Venture Exchange under SCLT. The basis of our company is our CEO, Stephen Wallace, who is a bright, generative geologist, and he's been working to find the best properties in Saskatchewan, and he's assembled a portfolio of 8 projects. He's got a track record of success in major gold discoveries, and what we're going to talk about is the opportunity in rare earths. As you know, I'm the chairman of the company, and I'm a trained geologist and an investment banker with over 40 years of experience in the business. So this is our list of projects. We're going to talk about Kulik Lake, K-U-L-Y-K, which is a rare earths property in the Athabasca Basin area of northern Saskatchewan. And as you mentioned, we've got world-class results, greater than 50% rare earth oxides in assays from surface trenches on our property. And it's extraordinary. And the question is, how big is this system and why are these results so rich? Okay, this is a map of Saskatchewan. Saskatoon here in the bottom center. And where we're located is at Kulik Lake, this rare earths project in north central Saskatchewan. You can see Athabasca Lake up here in the upper left-hand corner. And you can see 2 other rare earths properties, Bear Lake and Miller Lake. So we've actually got 3 rare earths properties in northern Saskatchewan. These properties are owned directly 100% by Searchlight, no royalties, no payments to anyone else. All we need to do to maintain these properties is spend exploration dollars on them. Monazite. This is the host mineral for rare earths on our property in Saskatchewan. In 2 of those 3 cases, one of our properties has another mineral called millerite, but let's talk about monazite. Rare earths in the world. You may know that China is the main source of rare earth supply and also rare earths refining. Up until around 2000, we had a major industry mining rare earths in North America, but tightening environmental regulations dealing with radioactive tailings and China's entry into the rare earths market undercut all of the rare earth suppliers in North America, and they all went out of business. Now China dominates the industry at a time when we vitally need rare earths. Why do we need rare earths? Rare earths are important elements for a clean, green future. We need rare earths because they have special properties. Specifically, They make the highest strength magnets. Neodymium and praseodymium are two of the rare earth elements, and they make what are called neomagnets. So if you pick up a cell phone, the speaker in the cell phone has a magnet in it, it's rare earths. If you look at a wind turbine out in the North Sea, they have about a ton of rare earths in the magnet motors. The electric motors that go into electric vehicles, a majority of them have rare earths in those motors. If you look at the regenerative braking systems of electric vehicles and hybrids, again, rare earths go into that. So even headphones, if you're using wireless headphones, they have rare earth magnets in them because the rare earth magnets are the most potent magnets in the world. So we vitally need rare earths, and China is supplying them. But right now we're going through a transportation disruption. The demand for electric vehicles is going through the roof in Europe. Germany's sales of electric vehicles are now 20% of the total market, whereas they were 5% last year. And paralleling that in China, their electric vehicle demand is going through the roof from 5% last year to 20% based on the recent month's sales. So the demand for rare earths is going to skyrocket. And we believe there's going to be a squeeze on the rare earth supply because China is mining rare earths in a very irresponsible way. And they're mining very low grade ores in Inner Mongolia. And yet China's trying to modernize its industry and try to raise the environmental standards of mining, but it will basically constrict the supply from China at the same time that their own demand is going through the roof. Western governments have realized that they need these elements and we need to develop our own industry. And I don't think there's a better place in the world to do that than Saskatchewan. So Saskatchewan is actually developing a monazite refinery in Saskatoon. And monazite is what we have on our property. So this slide shows a picture of the monazite mineral, and it talks about the chemical formula. Monazite's a very accommodating mineral. It can accommodate a variety of rare earths into its structure. On our property, it's actually been studied by academics, and we have a very constant amount of neodymium and praseodymium in our monazite at Kulik Lake, which is perfect because neodymium and praseodymium form the alloy that goes into these permanent magnets. Yeah. So Saskatchewan has started building a rare earths facility in Saskatoon to process monazite sands. This is a picture of northern Saskatchewan with the geology in the background. And it shows our Kulik Lake claims in what's called the Wollaston domain, and also these smaller properties on the north side at Miller Lake and Bear Lake. Okay, so those are our rare earth properties, but we basically want to focus on this Kulik Lake property. This is actually a famous rare earths occurrence. It's been studied by academics. It's been known for years, but because of the economics of the rare earth industry, as I mentioned, all of the rare earth miners in North America went bankrupt. This has not been explored. And so we are just now, for the first time, doing modern exploration on one of the highest grade rare earth showings that we know of. And also, Stephen Wallace has been doing research across Canada. The Geological Survey of Canada has taken lake samples across 3,000 lakes in the Canadian Shield. And the second highest rare earths number in that survey is in northern Saskatchewan, and it's now on our claims. It was wide open, and he researched this and found at Miller Lake this kind of 2,792 parts per million rare earth value, which we've staked. So this is what we're finding in Saskatchewan. Tremendous opportunity, no one's looking. And so we've gone in and staked large land positions and covered these extraordinary rare earth occurrences. Okay, this is our Kulik Lake property, which I just showed on a different map. And Kulik Lake, as I mentioned, is a historic high-grade occurrence of rare earths that has been studied academically but never drilled. We flew a radiometric survey over this in September, And this is our results. What we're doing here is we're looking for radioactivity. Rare earth minerals are radioactive. They contain thorium. And so we can trace the occurrence of rare earths by looking for thorium. And what we found here, these green dots, there's about 7 green dots around this lake in the middle of the screen. This is Kulik Lake. And the historic occurrences are on Kulik Lake. But what we found is when we did our survey, that the radioactive zone extends well beyond Kulik Lake for about 7 kilometers off to the northeast. So we have a world-class system. We have high grade. It's never been drilled. And the electric vehicle disruption is happening. The demand for rare earths is going to go through the roof. We have infrastructure in Saskatchewan to develop it. And we have a very low share price. And that's our value proposition for rare earths.
Okay, do you want to go into more detail, or is this pretty much the state of affairs currently? We know that this extends for 7 kilometers. Monazite should be in place because of the thorium as an indicator, but really this remains to be, well, drilled and drill tested in the upcoming season.
Yes, that's a good summary. We know from historic work, much of the work done in this area was looking for uranium because we're close to the best uranium area in the world. And there was some brief trenching and exploration done around Kulik Lake in 2010 and 2011. But this whole zone is virgin, has not been explored.
Okay.
And we need to follow up with detailed ground surveys. But given the time of the year and this extreme northern location, this is best left for next spring.
Okay. Well, you could argue this is great, and it's certainly the grades speak for themselves, the historic grades, but Searchlight is really late in the game. There's others that have been working on rare earths over the last decade, and those very examples show how long it takes to actually get a resource developed, and that is only the starting point. So just playing the devil's advocate here for a minute, how would you respond to someone saying you're late, you're too late maybe?
I don't think the boom in rare earths has even started. Okay. And one of our key strategies is to work in a place where you can develop things much more quickly.
Okay.
And the major impediment to developing a rare earths mine is the environmental risk associated with developing that mine. So let me ask you, where in the world can this environmental risk be assessed efficiently and quickly? And I would say the answer to that question is Saskatchewan. If you looked at across Canada and you wanted to develop a uranium mine in Quebec, do you think you could? The answer is no. They've banned uranium mining in Quebec and British Columbia and Nova Scotia.
Well, that said, neither of those provinces has anything comparable to the Athabasca Basin.
No, exactly.
So anyways, I get this. So this is the northern part of this Kulik Lake property, which actually runs has an extension of 100 square kilometers. So it's a massive piece of ground.
Yes.
And what we discussed in our previous, let's say, conversation was basically pretty much in a long strike of this rare earth, showing you found this uranium anomaly, highly anomalous spot running for 2 kilometers. So is there even a theory that both could hang together in some way, or is that just too speculative at this point?
It's a very good question. Basically, my belief is the underlying rocks in this area are unique geologically in the world. This Wollaston domain is a 2 billion-year-old formation, which is extremely rich in both rare earths and uranium. And that's why the Athabasca Basin exists. The uranium and the rare earths come from this formation. It's unique in the world, in my opinion. I don't know anywhere else where you get these level of results. And
Oh.
I don't know the reason for it. I think it has to do with the age of the mineralization, but there must be another reason. But if you look around the world, you'll see unique geological provinces where certain elements occur better than other places. An example would be Nevada for gold, Mexico and Bolivia for silver. But when it comes to uranium and rare earths, I believe Northern Saskatchewan is the best place to be that I've ever seen. So I think that's the answer. It's just a unique geological formation that's caused these results.
And despite this has been known, it's still surprising. Well, it's surprising, and yet you answered the question already why it wasn't pursued, because of a lack of economical incentive. But just to ask that question, for how long has Searchlight been owning this?
We've known about this property for about 2 years.
I see. Okay.
Yes. And basically, it was explored in 2010, 2011. You may remember there was a period where China moved to restrict the supply of rare earths and the price went crazy.
10 years
That's
ago.
when, in 2010, 2011, there was a territorial dispute with Japan.
Well,
and China decided to punish Japan economically by restricting the export of rare earths. Japan is a very sophisticated high-tech industry, and that squeezed the price of rare earths, and people went into this area and worked on it. And that was the last time that anything had been done. The price of rare earths has come down.
I get that. I get that story. But my question was, since when has this been owned by Searchlight? 2 years?
We've owned it for 2 years.
2 years. Okay. So, but this year was the first year you actually were able to perform some surveys across the land package, correct?
Yes. And so we knew the results were there. We have put a geologist on the property. We've collected surface samples. Those assays are pending. And we've done this very low level airborne survey and found these outstanding airborne results. And so the conclusion is, as you know, we've got high grade rare earths at surface at Kulik Lake, and it's part of a major geological zone with a long strike length.
I get it. So what's the consequence here? You're aiming for a drill testing early next year. Have you discussed with Steve how that might look? Is it a couple of holes along the strike, 10 holes, let's say 1,000 meters of drilling, or any? Can you give us any idea of how that might look?
It's going to be very inexpensive and very exciting, because the black box survey that we flew, that you're seeing displayed here, was specially tuned to find high grade mineralization at surface. Mm-hmm. So we know we don't have to drill a deep hole. We just have to basically uncover things to a depth of maybe 2 or 3 feet. In other words, less than a meter from surface. We know there's going to be high grade uranium. That's what the geophysicist's black box tells us. And it's not just one spot. It's a 2 kilometer long zone. It's multiple hits. We have either a boulder field or multiple outcrops of high grade uranium. So before we get to drilling, let's just go up there with an auger, shovel, and a hammer and collect surface samples. And then beyond that, if there's a major uranium deposit, we can do a survey looking for the trap. Uranium gets trapped in carbonaceous rocks, and that forms a conductor. And that's what's been successful in finding other deposits like Patterson Lake South and the Arrow deposit of next-gen uranium. So we need to do a couple of preliminary surveys. They're going to be very low cost, and we could be on the cusp of a major uranium discovery. It's very exciting.
Yes. Okay, I get that. You're talking uranium, but what you include in a way the radioactivity induced by thorium here, along with the monazites and the potential rare earths, correct?
Yes.
The methodology for both types of deposit, uranium and rare earth, is pretty much the same, correct?
Yes. That's right. You use a scintillometer, you find the radioactivity, you uncover the monazite mineralization. These are high-grade, massive monazite veins in the Wollaston domain. And we have between 3 and 7 kilometers of strike to explore and assay.
Yeah. Okay, so when could that happen? Ideally, somewhere around, let's say, maybe April,
May of next year.
April, May next year.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we'll definitely stay tuned. It's an exciting property for sure, with two potential discoveries, one on the rare earth side, as we just discussed, and the other one further to the south, uranium. And well, obviously, until that time, the company will probably need to get some funding in the bank again. But with that proposition, I don't think this should be a big challenge, especially not for you, Alfred. What do you think?
No, we have this under control.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about it. And
yeah.
I would like to stress that our competitors in this business have market caps that are multiples of what we are, but
Definitely.
we've got the goods. We have the high grade rare earths and we have the high grade uranium, and we're in an area that is very, very advantageous for logistics. We're close to the major mine road, to the Kulik Lake uranium mill, which is the largest uranium mill in the world.
Yeah.
Why people haven't come here before, I don't know, but we've got a good geologist who turns these things up, and that's one of our key advantages.
Alf, thank you for that wrap up of Kulik Lake and the rare earth side of things for Searchlight. I suggest, now that we get accommodated to this, that we do a third leg of this presentation, this time then geared towards the gold in Searchlight, just to go full circle.
Okay.
Okay, look forward to catching up with you soon. Alf, thanks for filling us in. Thanks, bye-bye, ciao.
Thanks, Sven. Bye.